Hello and welcome. I'm so glad you're here with me today. Whether you're listening to this while driving, while taking a walk, or while sitting quietly in your own space, I want you to know that this time is for you. This is your moment to breathe, to reflect, and to discover something that has the power to transform the way you experience your days. Today we're going to talk about something that touches nearly every single one of us. Anxiety. That tight feeling in your chest, that racing mind at 3 in the morning. Those what-ifs that spiral endlessly through your thoughts. The worry that seems to attach itself to everything, big and small. But more importantly, we're going to talk about the antidote. We're going to talk about faith and why faith beats anxiety any day of the week. Not just sometimes. Not just when things are going well. Any day. Every day. Now, I want to be clear about something right from the start. When I talk about faith, I'm not talking about toxic positivity or pretending everything is fine when it's not. I'm not talking about ignoring real problems or bypassing genuine emotions. Faith isn't about putting on a happy face and acting like nothing's wrong. Real faith is deeper than that. It's stronger than that. And it's far more practical than most people realize. Section 1. Understanding anxiety. Let's start by talking honestly about anxiety, because we can't address something we don't understand. Anxiety is exhausting, isn't it? It's like carrying a heavy backpack filled with rocks everywhere you go. Some days the backpack feels heavier than others, but it's always there, weighing you down. Anxiety takes so many forms. For some of us, it's health anxiety, constantly worried that every ache and pain is something serious. For others, it's financial anxiety, the fear that there will never be enough. Some of us carry social anxiety, worried about what others think of us. Others struggle with anxiety about the future, about our children, about the state of the world. And here's what makes anxiety so insidious. It feels productive. It tricks us into thinking that if we just worry enough, if we just think through every possible scenario, if we just prepare for every contingency, we can control the outcome. Anxiety masquerades as problem solving, but it's not. It's just spinning wheels. It's mental and emotional energy expended without actually moving forward. The truth is, anxiety is rooted in fear. Fear of the unknown, fear of losing control, fear of not being enough, not having enough, not doing enough. And underneath all of that fear is a fundamental question. Will I be okay? That's really what we're asking when we're anxious, isn't it? Will I be okay? Will my loved ones be okay? Will things work out? And this is where faith enters the conversation. Section 2. What faith really means. Faith is not wishful thinking. It's not crossing your fingers and hoping for the best. It's not denying reality or pretending problems don't exist. Faith is a decision to trust that you are held, even when you can't see the whole picture. Faith is believing that there is a loving intelligence at work in your life, even when circumstances are difficult. Faith is knowing, deep in your bones, that you are not alone and you are not in charge of holding the entire universe together. Think about that for a moment. One of the greatest sources of our anxiety is the unconscious belief that we are responsible for controlling everything. That if we just try hard enough, worry enough, plan enough, we can make sure nothing bad happens. But faith says, that's not your job. Your job is not to control the universe. Your job is to show up, do your best, and trust the process. This is incredibly freeing when you really let it sink in. Faith is the opposite of anxiety, because anxiety grips tightly while faith releases. Anxiety says, I must control this. Faith says, I can trust this. Anxiety says, what if it all goes wrong? Faith says, what if it's all unfolding exactly as it should? Anxiety says, I'm not safe. Faith says, I am always held. Section 3. The peace that comes with faith. There's a verse that many of us have heard. The peace that passes all understanding. Have you ever experienced that? That inexplicable sense of calm in the middle of a storm? That's what faith offers. Not the absence of storms, but peace in the middle of them. I remember times in my own life when, by all logical accounts, I should have been falling apart. Times when the circumstances were genuinely difficult. Times when I didn't know how things would work out. But there was this deep, abiding peace underneath it all. Not because the problems weren't real, but because I knew I wasn't facing them alone. That's the peace that faith brings. It doesn't erase challenges, but it changes how you hold them. With anxiety, challenges feel like catastrophes. Every obstacle feels like an insurmountable mountain. But with faith, Challenges are simply part of the journey. They're opportunities to grow, to learn, to discover strength you didn't know you had. Faith allows you to say, "This is hard, but I'm going to be okay. I don't know exactly how, but I trust that I will be." And that trust, that deep knowing, that's where peace lives. Section 4, Faith in Action, Practical Steps. Now, I can hear some of you thinking, this sounds beautiful, but how do I actually do this? How do I move from anxiety to faith? It's a valid question. Faith isn't just a nice idea. It's a practice. It's something we cultivate, something we strengthen over time. Let me share some practical ways to build your faith muscle, especially when anxiety is trying to take over. First, start your day with grounding. Before you pick up your phone, before you check your email, before you dive into the demands of the day, take 5 minutes to center yourself in faith. This might look like prayer, meditation, reading something inspirational, or simply sitting in silence and acknowledging that you are held by something greater than yourself. Those first few minutes of your day set the tone. When you begin with faith, you're less likely to be hijacked by anxiety later. Second, practice gratitude relentlessly. And I mean relentlessly. Gratitude and anxiety cannot coexist in the same moment. When you're genuinely grateful, anxiety loses its grip. Start noticing the small things, the warm water in your shower, the coffee in your cup, the fact that your heart is beating without you having to think about it, the smile from a stranger, the sunset, the way your body carries you through your day. Gratitude trains your brain to look for evidence of goodness, of provision, of love. And the more you look for it, the more you find it. And the more you find it, the easier it is to have faith. Third, reframe your thoughts. This is huge. When an anxious thought comes up, and it will, don't push it away or shame yourself for having it. Instead, examine it. Ask yourself, is this thought true? Is it helpful? Is there another way to look at this? Often, our anxious thoughts are just stories we're telling ourselves. They're not facts, they're interpretations. And if we can interpret circumstances in a way that creates anxiety, we can also interpret them in a way that creates faith. For example, instead of, "What if I fail?" try, "What if this is exactly the learning experience I need?" Instead of, "I can't handle this," try, "I don't know exactly how I'll handle this, but I trust I'll figure it out." Fourth, surrender daily. This is a big one. Surrender doesn't mean giving up. It means letting go of the illusion of control. It means saying, "I've done what I can do. Now I trust the process." At the end of each day, consciously release your worries. Imagine handing them over to something greater than yourself. Say out loud if you need to, "I release my need to control this. I trust that everything is unfolding as it should." This practice of daily surrender prevents anxiety from accumulating. It's like emptying your mental and emotional backpack every night so you don't carry yesterday's worries into tomorrow. Section 5. When faith feels hard. I want to acknowledge something important. There will be times when faith feels hard, times when anxiety feels more real than trust, times when you wonder if any of this is even true. That's okay. That's part of being human. Faith isn't about never doubting. It's about continuing to choose trust even when doubt is present. Think of faith like a muscle. When you first start exercising, it's hard. You feel weak. You might not see results right away, but if you keep showing up, if you keep doing the work, that muscle gets stronger. Eventually, things that once felt impossible become second nature. Faith works the same way. The more you practice it, the stronger it becomes. And even on days when it feels weak, it's still there. It's still working for you. On the hard days, be gentle with yourself. Don't shame yourself for feeling anxious. Acknowledge the anxiety, thank it for trying to protect you, and then gently redirect your attention to faith. You might say something like, "I see you, anxiety. I know you're trying to keep me safe, but I'm choosing faith right now. I'm choosing to trust." Sometimes faith is quiet. Sometimes it's just a whisper underneath the noise of anxiety. But it's always there, always available, always ready to support you when you turn toward it. Section 6. The evidence of faith. Here's something powerful to consider. When you look back at your life, hasn't everything always worked out? Maybe not always in the way you expected or wanted, but you've made it through every hard day you've ever had. Every challenge you've faced, you've survived. Every problems you thought would break you, you overcame. That's evidence. That's proof that you are resilient, that you are held, that you are capable. When anxiety whispers, "But what if this time is different?" Faith can respond with, "Look at the evidence. Look at how many times I've been carried through. Look at how many times things worked out, often better than I could have imagined." Your life story is a testimony to the power of faith, even if you haven't always called it that. Every time you took a leap and landed safely, every time you thought you couldn't go on and then found the strength to take another step, every time you lost something and eventually found something better, every door that closed and led to a better door opening. That's not coincidence. That's grace. That's evidence that you are supported by something far greater than your own efforts. When you're feeling anxious, come back to the evidence. Remind yourself, I have always been taken care of. I have always found my way. I am always being guided. Section 7. Faith and letting go of outcomes. One of the deepest practices of faith is letting go of our attachment to specific outcomes. This is where anxiety often has the strongest hold on us. We're so fixated on how we think things should go that we create enormous suffering when they don't go that way. But faith invites us to trust that sometimes what we want isn't what we need. Sometimes the closed door is a blessing. Sometimes the disappointment is protection. Sometimes the delay is divine timing. This doesn't mean we shouldn't have desires or goals. Of course we should. We're human. We have preferences. But there's a difference between having a preference and being attached to an outcome. With anxiety, we grip our desired outcomes with white knuckles. We think, it has to be this way, or I won't be okay. With faith, we hold our desires with open hands. We say, I would love for this to happen, but I trust that whatever happens is for my highest good. Can you feel the difference? One is constricting, the other is expansive. One creates tension, the other creates ease. When you can let go of the need for things to be a certain way, anxiety loses most of its power, because anxiety lives in the gap between how things are and how we think they should be. But faith closes that gap. Faith says, however things are, that's how they're meant to be right now. And I can work with this. Section 8. Faith is your foundation. Here's what I want you to really understand. Faith is not something you add on top of your life. Faith is the foundation of your life. When your foundation is anxiety, everything feels shaky. Every decision is difficult. Every challenge feels overwhelming. You're constantly bracing for impact, waiting for the other shoe to drop. But when your foundation is faith, you stand on solid ground. Circumstances may change, storms may come, but you remain steady, because you know that beneath everything, you are held, you are supported, you are loved. This is why faith beats anxiety any day. It's not just a coping mechanism, it's a completely different operating system for life. With anxiety as your foundation, you're always trying to protect yourself from potential threats. You're in survival mode, always on guard, always worried. With faith as your foundation, you move through life with confidence. Not because you think nothing bad will ever happen, but because you know that whatever happens, you'll be okay. You have everything you need. You are guided. You are protected. This shift in foundation changes everything. It changes how you make decisions. It changes how you show up in relationships. It changes how you experience challenges. It changes your entire quality of life. Section 9. Faith in community. I also want to touch on something important. Faith doesn't have to be solitary. In fact, it's often stronger when it's shared. When you're struggling with anxiety, reach out. Talk to someone who embodies faith. Spend time with people who remind you of what's true when you forget. Let others hold faith for you when yours feels weak. There's incredible power in community. When you can't see the way forward, sometimes someone else can see it for you. When you can't feel the faith in your own heart, you can borrow it from someone else's until yours returns. Don't isolate yourself in your anxiety. Don't let shame keep you from reaching out. We all struggle. We all have moments of doubt. We all need support. Finding your faith community, whether that's a spiritual community, a group of close friends, or even just one person you trust, this is part of building your faith foundation. Section 10. The daily choice. Here's the truth. Choosing faith over anxiety is a daily practice. Sometimes it's a moment-by-moment practice. Every day, you wake up and face a choice. Will you approach this day with anxiety or with faith? Will you grip tightly or release? Will you trust or will you worry? And here's the beautiful thing. Every time you choose faith, it gets a little easier. Every time you choose trust over fear, you strengthen that neural pathway in your brain. You're literally rewiring yourself for peace. This doesn't mean you'll never feel anxious again. You're human. Anxiety will come. But with practice, it won't dominate you. It won't control you. It will be just another feeling that passes through rather than a state you live in. Faith becomes your default setting. Peace becomes your natural state. Trust becomes your automatic response. And when anxiety does show up, you'll know how to meet it. You'll recognize it. You'll thank it for trying to help. And then you'll gently but firmly choose faith instead. Section 11, Living from Faith. When you truly live from faith, your entire life transforms. Decisions become clearer because you're not making them from fear. Relationships improve because you're not showing up with anxiety and neediness. Opportunities appear because you're open and receptive rather than closed and worried. Living from faith means taking inspired action rather than anxious action. It means moving forward even when you can't see the whole path. It means saying yes to opportunities that scare you because you trust you're being led. It means resting when you need to rest without guilt because you trust that rest is productive too. It means setting boundaries without apology because you trust that protecting your peace is protecting your purpose. Living from faith is living in alignment with your higher self. It's showing up fully, giving your best, and then releasing attachment to the results. It's doing your part and trusting that the universe is doing its part too. This is freedom. This is what it means to be truly alive, not just surviving, but thriving. Not just getting through the day, but savoring it. Not just enduring challenges, but growing through them. Section 12, When the storm comes. And what about when the storm actually does come? Because it will. Life includes storms. Faith doesn't promise smooth sailing. It promises that you won't drown. When the difficult thing happens, when the fear becomes reality, faith is what carries you through. Not because it makes the situation easy, but because it reminds you that you are not alone. That this too is part of your journey. That even this can be transformed into something meaningful. Some of the most faithful people I know have walked through tremendous storms. Loss, illness, betrayal, financial devastation, you name it. And they'll tell you that their faith didn't prevent the storm, but it was the anchor that kept them from being swept away by it. In the storm, faith looks like taking one breath at a time, one step at a time, one moment at a time. It looks like saying, I don't understand this, but I trust there's a purpose. I don't see the way forward, but I trust I'll be shown. I feel broken, but I trust I can heal. Faith in the storm is raw. It's real. It's not pretty or polished. But it's powerful, because it's the decision to keep going even when you don't know why. It's the refusal to give up even when everything in you wants to. It's the choice to believe in light even when all you can see is darkness. Section 13, Faith and Worthiness. One final thing I want to address. Sometimes our anxiety is rooted in a deep fear that we're not worthy of good things, not worthy of peace, not worthy of love. And sometimes we resist faith because we don't believe we deserve to be held, to be supported, to be cared for. But here's what faith knows that anxiety doesn't. Your worthiness is inherent. It's not something you earn or prove. It's not conditional on your performance or your productivity or your perfection. You are worthy simply because you exist. You are deserving of peace simply because you are alive. You are entitled to faith simply because you are a human being on this planet. You don't have to earn the right to trust. You don't have to prove yourself deserving of divine support. It's already yours. It's always been yours. It will always be yours. When anxiety tells you you're not enough, faith reminds you that you are exactly enough, exactly as you are. When anxiety tells you you have to do more, be more, achieve more to be okay, faith whispers, you're already okay. You've always been okay. This is the ultimate freedom that faith offers, the freedom to simply be, to exist without constantly striving, proving, defending, or justifying, to rest in the knowledge that you are loved, you are held, and you are enough. So here we are, coming to the end of our time together today, but really, This is not an ending. This is a beginning. You now have a choice in front of you. You can continue to let anxiety run the show, exhausting yourself with worry and what-ifs and the impossible burden of trying to control everything. Or you can choose faith. You can choose to trust, to release, to believe that you are held by something far greater than yourself, to know that whatever comes, you will handle it. You always have. You always will. Faith beats anxiety any day because faith is rooted in truth, while anxiety is rooted in illusion. The truth is that you are supported, you are loved, you are exactly where you need to be, learning exactly what you need to learn. Anxiety wants you to believe you're alone, you're not enough, and you're not safe. But faith knows better. Faith knows that you're never alone, you're always enough, and you are held in safety even when things feel scary. So take a deep breath, let it out slowly, feel your body, notice that you're here right now in this moment. And in this moment, you are okay. Right now, you have everything you need. This moment is all we ever really have. And in this moment, you can choose faith. You can choose it again in the next moment. And the next, and the next. One moment at a time, one breath at a time, one choice at a time, you are building a life rooted in faith rather than anxiety. And that life, that peace, that freedom, it's worth every bit of practice it takes to get there. You are not meant to carry the weight of the world. You are not meant to have all the answers. You are not meant to control everything. You are meant to show up, do your best, and trust. That's it. That's the whole assignment. So trust, have faith, let go, breathe. You are going to be okay, better than okay. You are going to be exactly what you're meant to be. Before we close, I want to ask you something. If this message resonated with you, if something in these words spoke to your heart, would you consider sharing it? I know there's someone in your life who's struggling with anxiety right now. Maybe it's a friend who's been overwhelmed. Maybe it's a family member who can't seem to find peace. Maybe it's a coworker who's constantly stressed. Maybe it's someone in your community who needs to hear that faith is available to them. Would you share this with them? Send them this recording. Tell them you thought of them. Let them know they're not alone. Sometimes the most powerful thing we can do is remind each other of what's true. And the truth is that faith beats anxiety any day, every day. If you felt that truth today, help someone else feel it too. Share this message. Pass it along. Be the person who reminds someone else that peace is possible, that faith is real, and that they are going to be okay. Thank you for spending this time with me today. I'm sending you so much love, so much peace, and so much faith. May you feel held. May you feel supported. May you know deep in your bones that faith beats anxiety any day, every single day. Be well, my friend. Be at peace and have faith.